Welcome to Oasis, St. Luke's midweek service. My name is Deanna Heiss, and behind the camera we have Doug Castle. I'd like to start this service with a quote from a collection of poems called The Leaning Tree by Patrick Overton. When you walk to the edge of all the light you have and take that first step into the darkness of the unknown, you must believe that one of two things will happen. There will be something solid for you to stand upon, or you will be taught to fly. Thank you for joining us. No matter who you are or where you come from, you are welcome here. Our guest speaker for the meditation and word tonight is Julie Murray. On the St. Luke's website, her title is listed as Worship and Membership Administrative Director. But for anyone who knows Julie, who has seen Julie, who has watched her work, who knows her work ethic, that title doesn't begin to cover everything that she does. If you have called St. Luke's, if you have stopped by St. Luke's, if you have emailed St. Luke's, if you have just simply thought about St. Luke's, you have probably encountered Julie in some way. I think the answer, Ask Julie, is the answer to a lot of questions that are asked in a lot of committees and a lot of places, because she is the steady drumbeat of the metaphorical music that is St. Luke's. So we are so excited to be able to talk to Julie today. She's a little bit more behind the scenes than some other people, but the work that she does is what keeps this place going. So welcome, Julie.
Thank you.
So Julie, give us a little bit of a sense, because some people might not have an opportunity to interact with you, especially within this past year. Give us a little sense of who you are, who your family is, what your background is, how long you've been here at St. Luke's, both as a member and on staff, and let us just get to know you a little bit better.
Okay. Well, my husband, John, and I have a daughter, Katie, and she's married and has two cute little kids, of course, ages 3 and 1.
Oh.
All the 8 o'clock people would be used to seeing them here in church. Then I have my daughter, Kim. She lives in Middleton. And my son, Chad, lives in Windsor. And he's married, and he also has 2 kids, a little girl and a little boy, at ages 3 and 1. So I've been a member all my life. I'm a lifer. So I grew up here, always come to church here, so it's my home in many ways, Monday through Friday and Sunday. So yeah, I grew up going to the 8 o'clock service as a kid. Every Sunday, no excuses. Sat in the same pew. So yeah, and it was just part of my life. It was just what we did, But I think my favorite coming to church was like first vacation Bible school. That has such fond memories for me, and I think that's why I love it so much when we have it here and all the kids are here, because it is my favorite week. So yeah.
When you and I were kind of going back and forth about some of the things that we might talk about today, I had not realized until you and I were doing that you had grown up in this church. Mm-hmm. You are this wealth of knowledge, And now I have a better sense of how you're no less miraculous to me in everything you know, but now I was like, oh, that does make a little more sense, that this is your home church. And I had not known that, so I loved finding that out. What did you do before you became a staff member here at St. Luke's?
I worked in the state government. I worked for many different agencies, and for almost 19 years. And a position came open, and I said, I want to do that. You know, the most recent agency that I worked for was probably the most memorable, and it was the Department of Justice, the Attorney General's office, and working in the legal department. And during my time there, the most notable one was the Jeffrey Dahmer case. So I really loved the details of the legal work. So I really enjoyed it there. So there was many people that couldn't believe that I was leaving state service, you know, and I would say there is life beyond state service. So
it's a different kind of service, but
it's a much better kind of service.
Yes.
I mean, when you work with the state, you're kind of like just a number, and it's so much more personable working at the church. It's just more family related. And I've worked here it's going to be 27 years in August. So, wow. But I still have other family. My mom is still a member. I have 2 sisters. I have cousins. So, yeah, it is my family.
It's a family affair. Well, and you mentioned it's more personable, and to that end, working in the front office and seeing people coming in and out, people needing to schedule baptisms, weddings, exciting things, people needing to schedule funerals. You see people at all ends of the spectrum. You see people who are new members and want to know more, and then you have people who have been here 90 plus years. So you have exposure to a lot of people and a lot of people's stories, and a lot of their experiences. And I'm wondering, tell us a little bit about how having that access to people at all different stages and phases in their lives, how has that affected your own faith story?
Well, everybody has their own story, but it actually strengthens my faith, just being a part of it. It's more emotional because you really get attached to people. Over the years, it's really hard, you know, when it's the funeral time, but it helps me grow. It really does. It helps strengthen, especially in the down times, you know. And I think that's the advantage of working in a church. There definitely going to be downside, you know, being in church, working there Monday through Friday, and then being there on Sunday and trying to balance, you know, your faith life versus your work life. But I think working in the church, it gives me strength daily because I can find ways to get strength from everybody else. I'm a people person, so I gain strength from everybody else. So, yeah.
And do you have a favorite prayer or poem, or is there something that grounds you when you need to get that strength, and you've gathered it from people, but are there any words that you turn to?
Well, and this has come more recently, but the benediction is my favorite. And there is a wall art that's over the bubbler by the main entrance. And I have gone to that for comfort and gone to that for strength. Whether it's somebody in the church or my family or just thinking about somebody else, I'll read it. And just drinking, because I always like to go over and get some water, and I'll just read it. And it just gives me such a calm and a peace. So it is my favorite. So,
tell us a little bit about your own, we call this Oasis as sort of a respite from busy weeks, from busy lives, from the go, go, go. Tell us, do you have your own personal oasis, a place where you go to recharge and to focus on your faith and have conversations with God?
Well, first of all, I have to say that since the pandemic hit and everything shut down, I've been able to enjoy Oasis the Wednesday night because I never could come to it. So I have grown to just love Oasis, and it gives me that middle of the week refresh. And I love going back and watching them. So, and I love what you're doing with it. So thank you for all you've put into it. It's a true blessing. But my personal oasis is, John and I have some property up in the central part of the state, and it's all woods, and it's very primitive. No running water, no electricity, but we have a trailer up there, and it just gives me great peace to just be up there as much as we can. We actually, this winter, were able to get up there even for the day, do some snowshoeing and stuff like that. So, plus there's a family attachment that I have because it was my dad's property, and so he's with me there. So it gives me great peace to just be up there, and we both, my husband and I both, get recharged when we're up there because it's so quiet. So.
Well, thank you for such a nice compliment about Oasis. It's certainly a group effort. I don't do it alone, but I'm so glad that you and I think a lot of other people are just enjoying being able to connect with other members of the St. Luke's community during this time. And I think I like your story about the property that you described and the fact that it's, I think you used the word primitive, which is sometimes I think a lot of us have found is the time that we're better able to have those conversations with God and about our faith is when there's less noise everywhere else.
Yeah, just being able to, because we love to just, watch for birds, and we abut up to family land that's part of pasture, so we look forward for the cows coming over and checking on us every once in a while. But it's just so quiet, other than, so we just love it up there. But my other quiet time is I do a morning devotion. I have a couple devotions that John and I both do, and so I like to have quiet time in the morning with that, and I like to end the day with just some quiet conversations with God, just before I go to sleep, and just really gives me calmness. So
kind of bookends to your day.
Yeah.
Before we moved to Wisconsin, I was on staff at our old church just part-time, and I was at a baseball game or a basketball game of our kids and was just chatting with some of the parents on the sideline, and the conversation turned to, what do you do during the day? And I said, I work at my church, and one of the gentlemen said, in all seriousness, he was not being funny, in all seriousness, he said, "Our church is open Monday through Friday? Like, what are you guys doing Monday through Friday? What? Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow, that's when so much happens. And I think that sometimes I can understand how if people are only here on Sunday mornings, mm-hmm. that gets lost a little bit, that there's so much that keeps it going, and there's a lot to do. And we're talking to the person who can talk to us about how much there is to do. But I say for myself, and I know that I say for all the members of St. Luke's, how wonderful it is to know that you're keeping the lights on here and continue to help us navigate what we need. And so thank you for the work that you do. It's probably might feel like like I said earlier, kind of a behind-the-scenes job, but we're so grateful for you and for your contribution. So thanks for joining us here today, Julie.
Well, I just love helping people. I love it when people call and need something. I love people call that are new to the area and want to know about St. Luke's. When they show up and be able to give them a little tour of it, I get just so much joy from that because I'm just so proud of what St. Luke's is.
Well, and that's so evident. And what a wonderful first impression for people, is to have somebody who grew up here and
Yeah.
who can answer a lot of questions, not only about St. Luke's, but about the area. And so we're lucky to have you.
Well, you know, it was a big transition working in state government, people around all the time, and then you come and it's quiet, you know, and it's just so different. It took me a while to get used to that, but and also going from state government to a church, you know, it became more than just a job. It was a ministry. I felt it was more like a ministry, and I love it.
I know you talked about your love of people and your love of being able to interact with them, and I know at any regular time, non-pandemic time, you've got people counting the offering in one room, you've got people assembling bulletins in another room, you're on the phone in another room, you're answering a question somewhere else. How has that adjustment been for you over this past year, as a lot of that has needed to be done in different ways?
It's been hard.
Yeah.
It's been hard. It was hard not having all that activity and not having the people in the office. Most of the time it was just 3 of us. And so it was really hard to go from multitasking on 10 different things and then nothing, you know. My great excitement during the pandemic was when the mailman would come, or the UPS or the FedEx person would come, and I'd get to go see somebody and go bring something in. So but that was really hard, so I'm really anxious for that to come back.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, good. And I think we all are. We're looking forward to the next chapter here.
Yeah.
Thanks, Julie.
You're welcome.